but the last he'd checked, he'd been rather slimmer. He was starting to think that Ruo didn't have anything to do with this after all. At least, he couldn't think of any reason Ruo would pass up an overnight muscle-enhancing treatment. In that case, what the fuck was going on? Even if the uniform would fit him, Jedao knew better than to put it on. Too bad he didn't have other clothes. But being shot for impersonating an officer didn't sound fun. The door opened. Ruo? Jedao thought. But no. A man came in, pale and tall and extraordinarily beautiful. His amber-flecked eyes with their smoky lashes were emphasized by silver-dark eyeshadow. While the man wore Nirai black and silver, Jedao had never imagined one in clothes with such decadent ruffles, to say nothing of the lace that drowned his wrists. Jedao's new theory involved Nirai experimentation that he didn't recall agreeing to. Of course, in the heptarchate, they didn't need to ask your permission. He backed up 2 steps. The Nirai's gaze swept right to Jedao's hands, which were in plain sight and not doing anything threatening. The Nirai's eyebrows shot up. "I hate to break it to you," he said, ignoring Jedao's hostile body language, "but you're going to start panics going around with naked hands." He had a low, cultured voice, as beautiful as the rest of him. "I advise you to put on the gloves, although those will start panics too. Still, it's the better of 2 bad alternatives, and you ought to get dressed." Was the man a guest instructor? And if so, why wasn't he wearing insignia to indicate it? "Excuse me," Jedao said. "I'd rather not go around in Kel drag. If there are civilian clothes somewhere, I'll put those on instead. Who are you, anyway?" "My name's Nirai Kujen," the man said. He strode forward until he'd backed Jedao into a corner. "Tell me your name." That seemed harmless enough. "Garak Jedao Shkan." Kujen frowned. "Interesting. That far back, Well, it's close enough for my purposes. Do you know why you're here?" "Look," Jedao said, starting to be more irritated than frightened. "Who are you and what is your authority anyway?" Granted that he was only a Shuos cadet, but even a cadet could be afforded some small protection from interference by random members of other factions. Kujen laughed softly. "Look at my shadow and tell me what you see." Jedao had taken it for an ordinary shadow. As he examined it more closely, though, he saw that it was made of the shapes of fluttering captive moths. The longer he stared at it, the more he saw the darkness giving way to a vast crevasse of gears and cams and silver chrysalises from which more moths flew free. He raised his head and waited for an answer to the question he couldn't figure out how to formulate. "Yes," Kujen said. "I'm the Nirai Hexarch." Jedao revised his speech mode to the most formal one. "Hexarch? Not heptarch?" The name didn't sound familiar. He scrabbled in his memory for the names of any of the heptarchs and could only remember Kiaz, who led the Shuos. What kind of experiments had they been running on him anyway to mess up his knowledge of basics? "It's complicated. Anyway, you're here to lead an army." That made even less sense. The Nirai faction dealt in technology, including weapons, but they weren't soldiers. That was the realm of the Kel. Besides which, "I'm not a soldier," Jedao said. "Not yet, anyway. Besides which, didn't you have to serve for years and years to get from grunt to general?" Except he had a soldier's body, and he'd listened for gunfire first thing. Kujen's mouth quirked at whatever he saw on Jedao's face. "A real army," Kujen said. "Not a simulated one. Potentially against the Hexarchate's best generals." Jedao was going to have to start asking questions and hope that some of the answers started making sense. "Hexarchate?" he asked. "Which faction blew up?" "The Liege, if you must know. The situation grew complicated very rapidly. The 2 major successor states are the Protectorate